You talk slowly, you have a certain tone, you have a certain intonation that kind of reveals confidence, okay?
In today's special feature, guided by the strategic insights of Robert Greene, we explore the subtle intricacies and unspoken rules that govern power, persuasion, and human connection. We begin by unraveling the definition of power. Here, you'll explore power's true essence, moving beyond conventional notions of control and authority to understand its deeper emotional and psychological underpinnings. Next, we turn to the role of appearances and self-image in power. This segment reveals the critical impact of how we present ourselves to the world and how it shapes not only how others perceive us, but how we perceive ourselves. Then, we delve into the art of attraction with How to Be a Good Seducer. You will discover the nuanced strategies that go beyond mere romantic endeavors, encompassing the broader spectrum of persuading and captivating those around you. Our journey takes a deeper turn as we dissect why being vulnerable and having flaws is different from being less than seductive. Here, the focus shifts to the delicate balance between openness and attractiveness, understanding how vulnerability can be an asset rather than a liability in the realm of seduction. Finally, we explore why it is important to understand body language. This segment sheds light on the unspoken cues that speak volumes, teaching you to read the silent language that reveals true intentions and feelings. Prepare to be enlightened, challenged, and transformed as we navigate these complex but fascinating topics. Each segment is a key to unlocking a deeper understanding of the human psyche and the silent rules that govern our interactions. Let's start with first segment.
What is, in your definition, what is power? I was really compelled when you're talking about the evolutionary roots of power, but like at its essence, what is power?
It's not what you think it is. It's not, Vladimir Putin or presidents or Biden or all these political figures and these big games. Power is a feeling, it's an essence, it's an emotion. It's a human need and desire. And really, what power is a sense of understanding yourself and being able to control yourself. So the way I look at it, I like to look at it not through the lens of great power politics, but as an average, everyday human being here in the United States or in England. The feeling that you have with your children, with your spouse, with your colleagues, the people who work for you, the sense that you have no control, that you can't influence them with your ideas, that you can't get them to maybe, soften some of their ugly behavior if they have that you can't get them interested in helping you with a project or whatever, is the most miserable feeling a human being can have. Malcolm X had a quote that I love, which is, "Absolute power corrupts, but absolute powerless corrupts even more."
Greene conceptualizes power not merely as control over others, but as an intrinsic feeling and emotion. He suggests that true power resides in our ability to understand and influence the emotions and actions of both ourselves and others. It's a dynamic interplay of perception, strategy, and psychology, far surpassing the simplistic view of power as domination. Delving deeper, Greene emphasizes that the core of power lies in self-awareness and self-mastery. Understanding oneself, one's motives, strengths, and weaknesses is the first step to wielding power effectively. This mastery isn't about suppressing emotions, but about recognizing and channeling them in ways that enhance our influence and decision-making capabilities. Furthermore, Greene highlights the omnipresence of power in our daily interactions, relationships, and decisions. He posits that every interaction is an exchange of power in some form, and understanding the dynamics at play can lead to more impactful and beneficial outcomes. It's about being aware of the subtle undercurrents of power in even the most mundane situations, and using that knowledge to navigate the complexities of human relationships.
The way you describe it is more of a sort of intrinsic force perception of yourself. When people think of power, they think of having control over others or their influence over others, but you've kind of made it more of a internal force.
Yeah, well, if you can't control yourself, then you're in a lot of trouble in this world, right? Because when you just naturally are yourself doing things, you're going to offend people. You learn early on we're social animals. I have to tailor my behavior, you know? If you go on babbling about how you feel and think, etc., and you just say what's the first thing on your mind, you're going to end up having a very, very short career. You're going to be saying things that are going to offend people. You're going to be making a fool of yourself. You're going to be saying things that you end up regretting, right? So you have no self-control. And if you see somebody who has no self-control, it makes you look like you're not powerful. If you can't control yourself, how can you control anything in your environment? How can you be a leader, right? So you have to learn certain things about your nature, about who you are, and not just be anybody. You have to kind of tailor your appearances as well. Because for good or for bad, I'm a believer in looking at the human animal without shame and embarrassment, just as we are, right? And appearances matter. It's the animal part of our nature. We judge people by how they appear, how they dress, their tone of voice, their body language, etc., etc. It would be, in an ideal world, we wouldn't judge people by appearances. We would just judge them by what's inside of them. Yes, I agree with that. But that we're not ideal. We're not descended from angels. We're descended from primates. So you have to understand that appearances matter. And this is part of the game. And so you have to control your appearances a little bit. You have to tailor it. You have to be a bit of actor in this world, on and on. You know, these are things that people don't like to admit about ourselves. We like to think that we're much more idealistic, that these things really don't matter in the end. And I wish it were that way, but it's not. And so I'm a bit more of a realist when it comes to things like that. But yeah.
Greene challenges us to rethink power, positioning it as a feeling and emotion, rather than solely as a means of controlling others. He suggests that true power comes from an acute understanding of the human psyche, both in ourselves and in others. It's a force that resonates within, driving our actions, reactions, and interactions. Diving deeper, Greene illuminates power as the profound understanding and control of oneself. This perspective emphasizes the importance of self-awareness and self-mastery. He argues that by understanding our own emotions, motivations, and tendencies, we can harness this internal power to influence and lead, rather than merely react and follow. Further, Greene articulates the omnipresence of power in our daily lives. He points out that every interaction, relationship, and decision is imbued with elements of power dynamics. Recognizing and understanding these dynamics can significantly enhance the quality and effectiveness of our interactions and decisions, whether in personal relationships, professional settings, or broader societal contexts.
What are the qualities of a great seducer?
Well, I like to distinguish between cold seducers and warm seducers. A cold seducer is something you don't want to be. That's the typical image that we might have of a male seducer, but even of a female seducer, like the great courtesans, etc., whether just after money or the men are just after sex. That's not my ideal. My ideal is kind of a back and forth quality, where it's not domination. It's sort of like a game that you're playing. It's like a mating game. It's like a courtship ritual where both people are kind of seducing each other. And so what makes for a great seducer is very simple. I can summarize it very simply. You are outer directed. So when you meet somebody for the first time, or you're on a date or whatever it is, You're not having that internal monologue going, does she like me or does he like me? Am I dressed well? Am I saying stupid things? What can I do to impress them? No. You turn it off, and you're outer directed, and you're listening to them, and you're entering their spirit, and you're hearing them say things that give you idea of what they're missing in life, of what they want, of what their needs are, of what makes them an individual. You're absorbing it, you're entering into their spirit, and then you can reflect it back to them. You can give them gifts, you can take them to places that show that you're attentive to them. Because if you look at how we are in our day-to-day life, normally people never pay us attention. They're always so self-absorbed, they're never thinking about us. The times where you get the sense that people are actually interested in who you are as an individual is pretty rare. If you give that feeling to someone, it's incredibly powerful because we all want to be validated. We all want to be recognized. So the seducer is not someone who's all worried about him or herself and thinking. They're involved in the other person. They're absorbed like a sponge inside their psychology, inside their world.
Greene emphasizes the significant impact of keeping up appearances on our happiness and fulfillment. He suggests that how we present ourselves to the world isn't merely superficial. It's a reflection of our self-image and aspirations. Maintaining a certain appearance can influence not only how others perceive us, but also how we perceive ourselves, playing a crucial role in our pursuit of personal and professional success. Delving into the psychology of power, Greene explores the idea of wearing masks and the duality between our public and private personas. He posits that the masks we wear, the roles we embody in different social contexts, are essential tools in navigating the complex web of human interactions. This duality, according to Greene, isn't about deception, but about adaptability and understanding the nuances of social dynamics. Furthermore, Greene underscores the necessity of understanding and managing one's image, especially in leadership and social interactions. He points out that those who master the art of image management can exert greater influence and control in their personal and professional circles. It's about crafting a persona that resonates with your goals, captivates your audience, and aligns with your vision of power.
When you were talking a second ago about the person who goes on the date and they're thinking about themselves and what they, what their hair looks like or whatever else, that spoke to an insecure person. Is insecurity a seductive quality or is it a anti-seductive quality?
It is anti-seductive. Now, there is a part of weakness that is seductive. So I would say vulnerability is seductive, but insecurity is anti-seductive. And there's a big difference.
Why does vulnerability draw people to you?
Because the sense, so if I can define seduction in simple terms, most of the time we are closed to the influence of other people. Particularly now, we have these walls up because life is harsh. People are coming at us with their advertisements, with their pleas, with their wanting money, with this, that, and the other. And we've all learned to be very defensive, right? And seduction is an openness, is the opposite of that. And you felt it when you were a child towards your parents. You felt very vulnerable and open. And there was an element of your parents and how they treated you that was very much like a seduction, right? So seduction is about being open to the other person to the extent where you can even fall in love. You can fall under their spell. And the sense of letting go of your ego, letting go of your defensiveness, and letting another person enter your world is being seduced. It requires vulnerability. If you meet, the typical scenario is of a man who's not vulnerable at all. He's so powerful and in control and everything, has no vulnerabilities. It's frightening. For a woman, it could be very frightening. Like this, he's so strong, he's so invulnerable, but there's something wrong about it. Maybe he's a serial killer, maybe he's got skeletons in his closet. Something isn't right about that. What seduces you about a puppy, about a child, about an animal, is their vulnerability. It makes you want to hug them. It makes you want to help them, right? The sense which if you came upon a tiger that's there and they don't need that, well, that's not seductive. I mean, on your screen it is. But if they're there in your living room, that's not seductive. But that puppy is, right? Vulnerability, the sense that somebody needs protection or help, brings out qualities in us that we don't normally have that I think allow for seduction. So that is being vulnerable. That is, I can be influenced by that other person. I am open to their spirit, right? That's being vulnerable. The word vulnerable, I hate to sound like a professor here, so excuse me, seduction, comes from the root of it means a wound, vulnus. So you have a wound inside of you and you need healing. And the other person naturally wants to help you, right? But being insecure is means I'm so self-absorbed, I'm so worried about myself that I can't get out of it. And we've all had that experience. When you meet somebody and you can sense, you can smell their insecurity in them. I'm not judging them because we all have insecurities. It makes you feel insecure. It makes you feel a little bit awkward. Whereas if you meet someone who's not like that, who's confident, etc., it brings out that quality in you. So if you're on a date and there's someone you smell that kind of insecurity, it makes you awkward and insecure. It creates a kind of a problem. So that would be the difference between the two.
Greene highlights vulnerability as a powerful tool in seduction. Contrary to common belief, showing vulnerability is not a sign of weakness. Rather, it's an expression of confidence and openness. It creates a genuine sense of connection, inviting others to lower their guards and engage on a deeper, more authentic level. This openness fosters trust and intimacy, making vulnerability a compelling and attractive quality. In stark contrast, Greene discusses how insecurity can be decidedly anti-seductive. Insecurity often manifests as self-absorption and self-doubt, projecting a lack of confidence and stability. This trait tends to repel rather than attract, as it burdens interactions with the weight of one's fears and uncertainties, creating a barrier to genuine connection and attraction. Also, Greene advises on finding the right balance between showing vulnerability and maintaining self-assurance. It's about being open without being needy, sharing without overexposing, and revealing oneself while retaining a sense of mystery and strength. This balance is key in making vulnerability an attractive trait rather than a repellent one.
And children are incredibly adept at picking up body language. So if someone is fake, if someone's an imposter, they hate being around children because children see through you, like radar, right? Because they're so attuned to it. You had that skill when you were very young, but you lost it because you became so oriented with words and you became so self-absorbed that you're not paying attention. But it's extremely important, right? So the whole body is involved in it. So you've got to first stop thinking about people's words so much. Because the one thing about words, unfortunately, is people can lie. They can say whatever they want. They can say, I love your screenplay. That was fantastic. You were great in that movie. I thought you were great, etc., etc. They can say anything to please, to flatter, to cajole you. But body language, man, it doesn't lie, right? So I talk in that book about the eyes and the fake smile. The fake smile is something you see every single day, but you're not paying attention. It's like, it's kind of tight, right? It's like, yeah, right? But a real smile, the whole face gets animated, and there's a little crinkly thing here as your face, as it lights up, and your eyes light up. It's hard to even put into words, but it's there, you can see it. It's real, it's not faked. Knowing the difference between a fake and a real smile is really important in seduction, in business, or whatever. To know if someone is like, yeah, I like that idea. No, they don't really. They're saying that to please you. They actually hate your idea. You master that language, you can start deciphering all this bullshit people are giving you. The face, you can disguise it a little bit. Actors know that. But you know what you can't fake? It's your voice. If you're nervous Not even the finest actors in the world can fake that. Your voice betrays so many things about you. It betrays your weakness, it betrays your lack of confidence, or it betrays the other quality, etc. Right? So pay really attention to the tone of people's voices, to how fast they talk. People who talk fast are very nervous. Someone who's I know I'm probably talking a little too fast here, sorry. My mind races, so I can't do that. Normally I don't talk so fast. But, you talk slowly, you have a certain tone, you have a certain intonation that kind of reveals confidence, okay?
Greene begins by pointing out that children are naturally adept at reading body language, a skill that adults frequently lose over time. He suggests that as we grow older, we become more focused on words and often overlook the rich tapestry of nonverbal cues that convey genuine emotions and intentions. He emphasizes the importance of prioritizing body language over words when it comes to truly understanding people. Argues that while words can be deceptive, body language often reveals the truth. It's an unspoken language that speaks volumes, offering insights into people's thoughts and feelings that words might conceal. Diving deeper, discusses the subtleties of facial expressions, particularly the difference between fake and real smiles. He notes that genuine smiles involve the entire face, including the eyes, while fake smiles are often just a lip movement. These nuances can provide key insights into a person's true feelings and intentions. Moreover, highlights the significance of voice tone and speed in understanding emotions. A person's tone, pitch, and the pace of their speech can reveal nervousness, confidence, agitation, or calmness, often more accurately than their choice of words. Finally, turns our attention to body language cues such as posture. He explains how posture can be a powerful indicator of confidence, leadership qualities, and even hidden insecurities. The way a person stands, sits, or moves can speak volumes about their self-assurance and authority.